Welcome to Legends to Leaders with Barry McElyea. The question first on my mind, what do you call the people that report to you? Do you call them subordinates? Do you call them direct reports? What is the language that you use?
I don't like the term subordinate because I think it has a little bit of a negative connotation. So direct reports, team, people I work with. I also don't like the language of people work for me. They don't work for me, I work for them, right? That is my mindset, is that I am here to kick down barriers for the people who do the work, the important work.
So you've been promoted, and now all the people that were your peers are now reporting up to you. Tell me a little bit about that culture shock. How does that, tell me about that.
That is probably one of the toughest situations to navigate. If you get promoted within your own organization where you were peers, there's going to be some emotions around that. There's going to be difficulty in navigating people that you may have had friendships outside of work with. Everyone else is watching you. You are in a fishbowl. Everyone is watching, and it's very quickly becomes perceived that you may be playing favorites, right? And that will destroy morale, and boundaries become really important.
I've been invited to happy hour. Is that a no-go zone? Are there some rules of thumb?
So I would certainly go to happy hour with my direct reports, but you're still at work, okay? I don't care if it's Saturday night and you're out, you are still on that pedestal. You can't get sloppy drunk at happy hour. And I don't care if you've done it before with these folks. That is a career limiting move. If you are not at a point where you can say, I can put that barrier, then don't go to happy hour. Find another way to connect with people, right?
And you are starting to see some conflicts. How can you anticipate them escalating? And you are starting to see some conflicts. How can you anticipate them escalating?
Just because people stop talking about something doesn't mean it's resolved. If you haven't actively resolved the problem, people stop talking about it, then they're going around you. Conflict avoidance is not the technique to use, right? They always do this, they never do that. Those sort of absolutes are dangerous.
Right.
If you hear those, I would say the best advice I can give you is say, wait a minute, let's dive into that a little bit. What does always and never mean? Because it's not always and never. It never is. It's been one or two instances or several instances that have now generated a story. I see my number one job as kicking down barriers for my team. Nobody comes to work and says, I'm going to do a bad job today. I mean, maybe one or two people do, but in general, people want to come to work and do a good job, right? So how do we help with that?
Is there a conflict resolution model or framework or book or school of thought that you advocate for? How do I upskill conflict resolution?
Yes, I'm glad you asked this. So I am currently, I'm sure you've heard of TeamSTEPPS. It's a model. It's a model that's based on the military. It's about situational awareness and communication. TeamSTEPPS uses, so describe the situation. I took some notes, so I'm just referring to my notes. Express your concerns or feelings, specify what the proposal is, what you need, and then clarify the consequences. If you describe to the other person what the situation is using facts, removing the emotion, express how this impacts you or the team or the patient. What do we need to do? Remind everyone that we have the same purpose, and then propose a solution. Typically, you can find a solution, right? People want to understand the why behind what they do. And if we are not clear, they will create their own story about the why. If you don't build that trust and explain to people, you will be doing a lot more cleanup on the back end. And I have learned that from personal experience. So do the work on the front end, not the back end. The world has become more emotionally charged. And we're seeing that in the workplace. And I think we have to be really cognizant of that, and we have to help manage that. I think emotional intelligence is becoming even more and more important because we have to find commonalities as humans. We have a shared purpose here. Be prepared to help people work through them, and don't make any snap judgments about anyone.